Of the RoadFS podcast live from
the Rupes Training Center in Louisville, Colorado, which is near Denver if you don't know that.
we're in Denver.
We're near Denver.
Yeah, near Denver.
Nearish.
So yes, and it has been an excellent 2 days
So far, yeah.
training at the Bigfoot Academy. And first of all, shout out to Jason Rose and his team. They've been incredible hosts, and we could not have a podcast without you. I mean, you are the impetus of this, you and Brett Berry with the ADA, and this is unique. Usually you got hoods and cars and boats in here, but I think it's the first time they've had helicopters in here.
I would say it probably is the first time they've had
helicopters. We made history this well, it's not weekend, it's a week.
You did make history.
So it's pretty cool to be a part of that, and there's a lot. Oh my gosh, there's so much that went into this. This was by far the hardest course that we've done as far as logistics, dealing with the helicopters landing, and then what many people don't know behind the scenes, peek behind the curtain. We had the helicopters pull out 2 weeks prior to the course. Not these, different ones. Mishaps, you always got to be ready to pivot in aviation, and that's exactly what happened. We were clenched for a couple of weeks, and we got a fixed wing aircraft as an insurance plan, and but we wanted to stick with the original plan of flying into helicopters into the BFA.
And it's
freaking amazing.
It's incredible.
It happened. So by the grace of God, it all came together.
And these are beautiful aircraft. They were a mess. I'm going to step back out of the way just a second. This black one was absolutely trashed.
Thing was
I figured they probably barrel rolled this thing in the mud before they brought it in.
It was pretty rough.
But at this point, after yesterday doing some paint correction, and then today taping it off and doing a ceramic coating on it, this has been a big process. As you can see, there's differences here. You got people standing on. Obviously, there's been a safety briefing beforehand. They know where to stand. They're using the proper tools. They're the right distance apart, and they've got hands-on training from the Sparrowhawk team. So, literally, logistically, how long did it take you to plan this training?
So when were y'all in Houston?
November
14th.
It was a hypothetical, just conversation. What if we can somehow figure out how to get an aircraft in the BFA? And your original thought that I had was, let's get an experimental aircraft. And there are a few that you could fold the wings. We can bring it in, unfold. We got an aircraft. The only thing is now we got to trailer it in. So we're making it as like light bulb, helicopter. Let's see if we can source some helicopters. And through our network, landed the first two. Everything happened, and then reached out to a friend of mine that we really, really appreciate his relationship, and Jimmy's World. I wasn't going to name drop Jimmy's World. And so I reached out to Jimmy. Hey, do you know anybody? And this was Friday.
Oh, wow.
And
wow.
This
is like,
Friday evening.
So,
holy crap. It wasn't even 2 hours. It wasn't even 2 hours, and we had the helicopter secured. And then it was, and we were organized with the first two. Organized. So we had everything to the T. And then it was just go with the flow, guys. Just go with the flow. It'll come together. We already have our plan from the first two. Just go with it, and it worked out beautifully.
Yeah.
So I have a question. What are the logistics behind flying a helicopter into Rupes's parking lot?
Yeah.
So there's rules of where you can and cannot land. In a nutshell, and I'm not speaking definitive, but there's gray areas. For the most part, as long as the property owner is cool and nobody else really complains around, you're good. But even then, for the most part, the property owner trumps everything else.
Okay.
So that was the situation. They own everything.
Oh, yeah.
So they said yes.
You're in.
All right.
So one of the big questions is, to get it in here, you had to remove the props. They call them props?
Rotors.
Blades.
Props.
Okay.
We know what you
Now, not everybody's allowed to do that. But because of your background, you are able to do that. And
so when it comes to some models of helicopters, they have that already designed into the engineering side to be easily removable. I don't know as far as with the helicopter regulations. I believe the owners have that capability of movement. So
Okay.
with that being said, though, I am an APIA.
Right. So
if
even
we're
if it
good to
wasn't,
go,
you're good to
we
go.
plucked off, I think, all 6 rotors with them and walked them back about 30 minutes. Roughly.
Nice.
Actual time
Yeah.
doing it.
Well, and
Nice.
usually, like in a facility like this, you would just fold them back.
This particular model.
But in particular, you took them off because we're going to do some work on the rotors
No.
as well. No, we're not.
No. Well, I mean, we're going to clean them before we install.
Right.
But as
Yeah.
far
That's.
no,
I meant as far as cleaning.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
For sure.
that's awesome. So let's talk about the ADA, right? I think there are a lot of guys that, and we see them. They're out. They're trying to grow their business. They're wanting to get into aviation. They're even jumping into it with the skill set that they have from doing cars and boats, right? Assuming one that the chemicals and products are the same, but also that their insurance will cover them. And we learned today at lunchtime that definitely is not the case. So let's talk about the mission of the ADA and why people should get involved, get trained by them, by you guys, and what that really benefits them.
So the big thing is, and the whole purpose, to answer that question, the big purpose of everything that we're doing is to start standardizing aircraft detailing.
Mhm.
It is the wild, wild west. Everybody's got their way that they want to do it, and it's a little questionable on some of the SOPs that are out there, from regurgitated information that telephones down, and then you lost the true meaning of what the purposes of what you're doing. So with our thought process is we need to start standardizing aircraft detailing specifically. I like to go to this analogy. As a mechanic, you have to study, and have practical, and go through all the rigorous processes to wrench on them. As a pilot, the same process. Why is it any different for aircraft detailers?
Right.
Lives are in our hands.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so there needs to be standardization. This isn't some willy-nilly, look, it's underserved market, let's go. No, we want to make sure that we're doing everything that we're doing to segregate true, genuine, professional aircraft detailers from the fly-by-night YouTube certified. And I don't mean that in a derogatory manner.
No.
But it's starting to get frustrating dealing with all the claims, seeing and insurance from the malpractice, because people trust YouTube and think that that's law. And half the time people on YouTube don't genuinely understand aircraft, and it's just misinformation.
Well, I think one of the things too that you are bringing to the table is a whole line of products that are specifically designed for aviation. And you and I have talked about, ceramic coating in particular. There are chemicals that are used in aviation that will just eat away typical car coatings, right? So you guys have done a lot of research in developing a coating that is very durable and appropriate for these types of canvases.
So, I mean this with the most respect. I'm not saying this in a bad way in any way, shape, or form. I'm just calling it for what it is. But it's easy to get on Google and look at the life of an aircraft and how high they go, and temperature drops and pressure, all those little things. It's cool. But that isn't necessarily the full life of the aircraft. It's easy to get on Google and build a coating for something to those parameters and specifications.
Come on in here, big dog.
With what we did is we grabbed everything that I know from the back end of the aircraft's life, when it's in maintenance, when it's in inspections, and
no, stay, Jason, stay.
And it's things like that. So we took all that into account. And like, for instance, me being a mechanic, I understand whenever I leave my mechanic fingerprints everywhere, I go to certain chemicals that are very harsh. And that's just what we do. I learned and I changed things. I did. I don't use those super harsh chemicals anymore, but I guarantee you a majority of mechanics are. They don't think like that. So spray, wipe your fingerprints off. I promise you, we've tested it. Coating's gone. Single swipe, it is gone. So there's lots of variables and chemicals that are a part of the process of maintaining aircraft that are missed drastically. So we grabbed all of these chemicals, did all the testing, had to tweak a bunch because we thought we had one formula and we're good. And then we grabbed the very last chemical we had to test to verify, and it failed miserably. So we went back to the drawing board, and then we dialed it in. It's all good to go. So we truly have
awesome.
An aircraft, a true aircraft coating that is chemical resistant.
Well, I heard that if you wanted to test any of your aircraft coatings, you just need to put them on Jason's Jeep because he flies about the same altitude, and he gets up in the clouds.
Hopefully
and,
not altitude.
yeah.
I'm doing something wrong if I'm getting altitude.
But no, that's the big thought process of the product line is building a product line from an aviator's perspective that knows the industry
Right.
rather than Google searches.
Well, and that's the thing is that they're not also looking at, things like manufacturers' recommendations as far as chemicals on specific substrates. And I think we were trying to count the number of different materials that are just on the outer skin of these, and the piece that covers that black rib on there is a different material than necessarily you got Lexan or you've got poly or you've got maybe glass, you've got fiberglass steel. I mean, you got all kinds of different
composites, thickness,
everything.
aluminum, bare aluminum. I mean, you got.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different things on there, and even like we were talking about yesterday, certain manufacturers of the certain plane have different products within them. It's just like anything with cars. You can get one that's manufactured in Canada or one that's manufactured in Mexico or the United States, and it's different. Every Jam truck now has part metric and part standard, so you can't think of everything up front. So 88 trainings. There's another one coming up in September 13th, 14th.
Is that here again, or is that in Houston?
Houston at the Lone Star.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, beautiful
13th,
facility
14th,
as well.
15th. We're already booking. We already have quite a few spots secured. We haven't started advertising it yet, but after all the content and everything's made, we'll start using those to advertise for the next
So
course.
then when's the next time we're going to have airplanes and aviation in here? This is going to be a
that's
normal
up
thing,
to,
right?
The people with the red logo to decide when we're doing the
That's
next.
So let's talk about Rupes. I mean, dude, this
Let's
is
talk
cool.
about
I mean,
Rupes.
And this is
Tip-
pretty cool.
typically we
this
got
is
hoods and
awesome.
cars and boats in here.
Yeah.
This is the first time to have helicopters in here, right?
First time aircraft, but also first time aircraft landed in our parking lot.
I know that
Oh
was
yeah,
freaking
that's
awesome.
phenomenal.
That
That was a
Thank you.
very cool experience.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Well,
And you're about to get a plane or an aircraft ride.
Yes, I will.
Tomorrow.
Awesome.
What?
Well, this is also
wait.
showing people-
This is your first helicopter ride?
No.
Dang it.
Oh,
All right. Well,
yeah,
we'll
you're
choose
going
someone
in the helicopter? Oh man, I'm so
So
envious.
the thing about this is this just shows people the flexibility that you can have in a shop. Not everybody has a facility as beautiful as Rupes,
that.
the Bigfoot Academy here. But even if you imagine a third of this, you could fit that helicopter in here. I mean, you can put another one back here. Just an idea for next time. You could.
So
We're doing bright work in the launch.
Bright work in the
yeah,
water.
that's cool.
So that I think it gives people a different understanding of what they can and can't do. If you've got a piece of property next to an airport, and we've got a couple people here from SOS that they have a facility right next to an airport.
Yeah.
You got these capabilities,
So let's talk about the Rupes team. I mean, number one, you guys.
I don't want to hijack
No. I
No,
mean,
please.
dude, your team made this possible in conjunction with the ADA, right? So we got to give props to the Rupes team. One, to open up your home and be just consistently a phenomenal training location center. That's the word I wanted. And just have an incredible team. But what was kind of unique in this one was your guys were actually students.
Yeah.
Like Todd was in there, learning. So let's talk about that, because I think a lot of times people look at Rupes as they're the training, they're the go-to product guys. They got the polishers and compounds and the pads. They got a complete system. But now you guys are still elevating.
Well, one of the things that our company strategy is, we're not all about just polishers on cars. So a lot of people don't know this in America, but in Europe, Rupes is in many different industries. But we want to kind of spread the message that we're in aviation, we're in marine, we're in industrial, we're in woodworking, we're kind of in all of these spaces. And the opportunity for us to work with Josh and everything he's got going on, and forgive us for like hooking our trailer onto your wagon here, because we're about establishing that credibility.
Yeah.
And that's what this certification does for our team.
Right.
It's not that we're going to go out and detail aircraft,
No.
but it adds credibility to our team as trainers, and that's what our interest is.
But the interesting thing about that, and I'm going to speak from outside, right, is the fact that Rupes, you and the team, has the mentality that you need to increase your
knowledge,
your
and
knowledge, right? I
experience.
mean, because you guys already are one of the go-to companies, and like you said earlier, people assume it's just a product company as far as machines, but the whole system, the pads, the polishes, the compounds, and even the sanding equipment, like from an automotive refinishing background, the sanding are fabulous devices, and you got a whole line of tools. But that's not enough, and you guys continue to amaze me every time I'm here. You guys are just super accommodating and open your arms, and I mean the whole team, Ilya and you got to
Sarah,
mention Todd,
Todd.
even though it's Todd. No, the whole team is great when you come here. So this is I'm going to move here. I've told Sarah before. I'm just going to set up a little studio back here. I live here now. And
your little remote office.
it's our little remote
you know,
office. That's right.
It's good.
So what do you guys have on your schedule? Obviously, you can go to the website and look and see the schedule and sign up. I actually saw Sarah working on that today. So you can go do some signups for stuff here. It is a great facility because you get the classroom and the shop, and the combination of going in and out of that is, I love that.
We've got a lot of programs in the works, and you have to keep checking our website because we're constantly popping things up. Spanish classes, woodworking classes, boat classes. I mean, motorcycle classes. We've got a lot of stuff going on. Actually, next week there's a very special event. It's probably not going to matter after next week on this content, but so Kevin Brown, Larry Casilla, and I, first time in years that all three of us together in one place. So it's going to happen here.
That's awesome.
Nice.
So we're doing a 3-day class. But anyway, we got some tremendous.
Yeah, a lot of really cool stuff coming
dude,
up. So this is, I think the last couple of years have been really mind-opening to the trainings. There's so many different trainings, and a lot of people.
Oh my gosh, everybody's getting into training.
Yeah, and they're all different though. I think that's an advantage to that, because when you go to, like, for instance, I've been here for your sanding course twice. One time with a really awesome 69 Coronet. And you just did Tayton's dad's El Camino.
Yeah.
And then there's been other things where we've just done hoods and stuff. That is such a different course than, for instance, like a Jason Kilmer hand sanding, little tiny teeny. It's just different. You learn different stuff.
Yeah.
I love learning about the systems of it, and I had to relearn. I was listening to Todd tell a story about telling Jason he was wrong and he wasn't. But I've had firsthand experience, because I was telling Jason the last time we were here that I didn't like a specific compound that they make because it does a certain thing I didn't like. And he's like, well, it's because you're overworking. And I'm like, whatever. So then we're actually physically on a car later that night on an off chance. And he's like, see, you got too much compound. And he's absolutely right. So I think that's kind of the thing, is people need to listen and be more humble in that case, to understanding the whole thing of 1 minute, 60 seconds, right? That is just, my personal for your system is the devil made me do it, because it's 666, right? So I just remember that, and it works.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I like that. I do weird things.
I do that too. I totally
remember that.
And I will say, to that point, right? I think one of the hardest things for detailers and business owners to do is to break old habits, right? Because it's muscle memory, it's ingrained, and to be open to go, all right, maybe I need to step back and look. It's like today, it's the first time that I really got to use the hybrid.
Oh, geez.
Dude, that thing is a freaking dream.
Yeah.
Dream, right? It had yellow pad, the yellow polish, and it was cool because in the back of my mind, I kept going, don't overwork it, right? Just here, swipe, and then wipe it off, and I'm like, whoo.
So I want to talk about the hybrid tools, the hybrid technology in general, because you got a lot of tools, and this is my own personal little thing, right? And I know I'm going to be wrong, but okay. Every device in the world, the motor sits like this, and then the pad comes down here, and you've got an interchange device up here that transfers the energy from the motor down. Sorry, we're nerding out here, but it transfers it down, and then the pad rotates this way, but the motor's spinning in one of these directions. With the hybrid mini, the motor is in the same direction as the pad, so there's no transfer of energy. Is it more of an efficient tool because of that, for its classification of tools, that 3-inch tool.
It gives you more of a direct drive because the output shaft of the motor is directly going into that pad rotation. So
Yeah.
anytime you run RPM of a drive shaft and then you run it through a gear set,
Yeah.
then you lose,
You lose
a-
horsepower.
lose some.
And I honestly, the first time I'd ever used this, when we did a whole car with it, and it's a fantastic device. All of them. Even if you go back to the YouTube and you look up us looking at the 21 and the 15 at SEMA last year, the balance of that thing is just incredible. Just the engineering that's gone into keeping it balanced. Jody's he's right-handed, but he's always had a hard time driving a device with his left hand, and so he's switched with some of the other devices out there because he had easier time controlling it. And with the iBred, with the 21s, he can actually control it with his regular on hand.
Yeah, but now I'm doing everything left-handed. I've gotten so used to polishing left-handed.
Yeah. But it really is.
It
The amount
was
of engineering that's gone into it, guys. It's not something that's just thrown together here. Let's do a new battery operated device. The ergonomics, the balance, not just the balance of the head front to back. You literally can feel the balance point in the center.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then the vibration, the lack of vibration is pretty phenomenal.
So anyway, well, thank you so much for letting us crash the party. We always love
we
coming
love
and-
crashing all the
appreciate
parties.
y'all.
Yeah, it's always fun. So you guys do a
Your
great
support
job.
is phenomenal. Thank you for everything.
Of course,
absolutely.
man.
Anytime, man.
We
love it.
Obviously.
we just love being part of great teams.
Yep.
So, and you guys are top notch, man.
So if aviation, go look at the
ADA, go
ADA.
check it out.
Get yourself that higher level of training. It's like the difference between somebody that's just standing in the corner with a shingle and a bucket and somebody that's IDA certified in automotive. It's the ADA certification in aviation. So go get that going on.
We'll take you later.
See ya. I still like this one. Still use this
That one
crap
is
out of that
nice,
one.
man.
The
It
corded
is
device.
nice.